Good morning, everybody. Today we will discuss on liberty and democracy, an essay from B.Ed first year compulsory English, the English for the new millennium. Today we will discuss on the summary of this topic, liberty and democracy. Let's see. Look at the picture. How students are feeling free, liberty. They are getting liberty, so they feel democracy. These two terms, liberty and democracy, are interrelated. If there is liberty, then they feel democracy, or if there is system of democracy, then people or everybody will get liberty. Liberty means here freedom. Democracy also provides the freedom. Let's see. The term democracy alone is difficult to define. Kant defines democratic peace as the theory that no two democratic countries have gone to war with each other. However, Zakaria argues that the democratic peace is actually the liberal peace. Democracy and liberty have slight differences, a little difference. Joseph Schumpeter defines democracy as a political method or a mechanism for choosing political leadership, but liberty is often defined as the basic freedoms granted to humans by nature. In context of the political world, the destination between the two terms is often not clear. The political scientist Dahl, Huntington, and the Sorensen interpreted the term democracy as an idealized democratic nation. This idealized democracy includes the practice of democracy, election, and liberty, the preservation of freedom. Thus, ideal or true democracy integrates democracy, elections, with liberty. For these scientists, democracy includes the ideals of election and individual freedoms. However, Zakaria takes a slightly different view. He clearly separates democracy from liberalism. For Zakaria, democracy is linked to the idea of a government that allows all the citizens of its nations to actively participate in the selection of their leaders, while liberty is about a government's goal. Liberalism includes an individual's natural or inalienable rights such as the freedom of speech, assembly, religion, etc. Zakaria states that a liberal democracy has two characters: a government based upon the fair election of its leaders, democracy, and a political system marked by the liberal liberties of speech, assembly, religion, and property. That depends on liberty, that is liberty, freedom. A government should embrace civil liberty. If not, war may occur. Government should provide basic human rights. Oppressed people rise against the leadership to gain freedom. Citizens feel safe and cared for by their nation where liberalism is in practice. Dahl clearly states that democracy describes an idealized world where democracy, elections, and liberalism coexist in one nation. He outlines about classical liberal freedoms, which are crucial to public participation in government. Liberalism provides opportunities to represent various interests in policy making. Dahl's view of democracy combines democracy election with liberalism. Hun- Huntington follows Dahl in creating an ideal democracy, calling it a true democracy. He states that elections, open, free and fair, are the essence of democracy. He means democracy includes political liberties such as freedom to free speech and from groups. Thus, he does not separate democracy from liberty. However, Zakaria does. Sorensen argues that Schumpeter's definitions of democracy is very narrow as it just indicates a political system. He states that liberal democracy, he labels this type of government as a social, economic and political system, thus integrating liberalism with democracy. Like Dahl, Sorensen views that ideal democracy practices both democracy, elections, and liberalism. He gives three requirements and civil and political liberties. It is clear that each of these three scientists presents similar but varying definitions of democracy. In one aspect, they argue against Zacharias' view of democratic versus liberal peace. In another, they support the idea of democratic peace of Kant. All three states that liberty is a virtue of democracy, thus connecting the two ideas. However, at a deeper level, all three distinguish between democracy, elections, and liberty, as they expand upon the idea of democracy by incorporating liberalism with democracy and name these new definitions of democracy, polyarchy, and political democracy, Huntington and Sorensen. Thus, they actually support Zacharias' argument for liberal peace. In fact, Zacharias' view seems to be liberal autocracy. A country moving toward democracy in respect to open elections is more likely to move to a liberal democracy and peace within the nation. To bring liberal democracy and peace to country, there must be satisfaction and happiness of the people. If a leader of an autocracy rules for the well-being of people in all decisions, such rule may lead to peace. But in a democratic nation, leaders may have only self-promoting interests in mind in the same or name of democracy. Then there might be a corrupt government. Hence, the term democracy is difficult to define. Each political scientist defines the word upon his own personal experiences and beliefs, though the three philosophers differ in the use of terms. It is clear that liberty is key to the growth of a liberal democracy and the increase of peace within a nation. This supports Zacharias' viewpoint that the democratic peace is actually the liberal peace. Thank you. This is summary of Liberty and Democracy, page number 186. Thank you everybody. Please like, share and subscribe the channel. Thank you.